Welcome to three shifts or three decisions to accelerate your business and your life, especially during these crazy, crazy times. And I want to start off with a quote, and the quote goes like this. The day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Anaisnin. There comes a day in our lives, or maybe a period in our lives, where we realize that some of the things that we want to do is so close yet so far. And that internal tension, that cognitive dissonance of you not doing it, yet knowing it's just a decision away, is so painful that it can cause you to find all kinds of things to distract yourself than to face the truth and the commitments and the courage to actually commit to something. So welcome to the three shifts and three decisions that you need to make in order to commit to something that is your true calling. And when I talk about calling, I don't mean that it is a calling like some woo-woo, you cannot see type of calling, but it is a calling that is something that deeply matters to you, something that you have been thinking of for a long time, something that not only honors all of your skill sets and all of what you know and what you are doing already, but it elevates your game. It challenges you because you don't know what to expect. You don't know the potential of what it would be like if you were to fully go for it. It's just like stepping off of a cliff and diving without knowing if there's water underneath or there's slime or there is just air and clouds. So that's what it feels like when we're stepping into that new zone. So before we begin, just giving you a quick little background of myself. I'm an international speaker, author of this book, and I'm also the founder of the Liberated Leaders, helping high achievers, entrepreneurs, and visionary corporate leaders experience breakthroughs and multi-dimensional success from leadership, embodiment, voice, the voice being able to embody your voice, career, and money. So we marry strategies in business and career and life with profound personal healing, because leadership is not just about knowledge, but also about who you are inside. We do this through matrix healing, spirituality, unconscious mind work, shamanic journeys, breath work, and also very practical innovation strategies, which are outlined in the book. So this really came to me during my 15 year of self-healing work and through extensive studies of multiple gazillion modalities augmented by a lot of the education that I did in marketing, business, and innovation. So we support thousands of visionary leaders just like you and ambitious healers. And most importantly, we support people to really tune into their heart, have courage, authenticity, and flow. So we have a community of over 30,000 people, and we run this program with the Yummy framework that you'll learn about later. And this has been taught over 180 places and 180 events, including being mentioned on 350, like tons and tons of places. So welcome. I'm really honored to be here, and I just want to acknowledge you for getting yourself out of wherever it is and whatever it is that you're doing and showing up here, because life wants you to show up, and you are here for a reason. And that reason may be to face a deeper fear inside, to really truly own what you have here to give. And if you are at a point in your life where you know that you are meant to do something larger than what you are, and you're feeling the tension and potentially the excitement of going for that, then I'm just so happy and so honored to be supporting this journey. And the three shifts and decisions we're going to be talking about today is going to help you move a little bit further. And in a lot of cases, for the people that we've spoken to today, have also taken that full stance and that full bold commitment into it. So I'm excited to see how you're going to integrate this into your life. So the first thing that I want to share with you is a little bit more about why I'm so passionate about this topic. And the reason I'm so passionate about this topic is right now, I have the real fortunate, just such a fortunate ability to experience the world in so many different facets, just about, hey Key, how's it going? Just about a month ago, not even 14 days, like 11 days ago, I was in Paris, a city that I've always dreamed of being in. And then almost half a year or a year before that, I was in Boston, right? And I got to live a life where I get to travel a lot. I'm in Singapore right now, and before that, I was in Hong Kong. So I get to live a life where I get to travel around wherever my heart is calling me to. People are always like, oh, like, why are you here? And I'm always like, well, because it's just an intuitive, evolution, right? So I love that. And Keith, Gary, if you want to put on your videos, you're welcome to do so. If you want to stay private, it's fine too. But I like to see your faces if you would like to show me. All right. So I just want to share with you, like, it wasn't always like this, right? I still remember a long time ago where I was faced with the reality of whether or not I was going to choose my destiny, or whether or not I was going to choose something that I was so called to do, or was I going to play small and stick to what's safe and what's comfortable and what I already knew. And it's a really, really scary point, to the point that I avoided what I was meant to do and what I wanted, what my heart really, really wanted me to do, because I wanted to follow what society expected of me, what I thought was successful. And it caused me to have a 15-year disease. I had so much anxiety and so much stress, and I had such a hard time coping with it, that on the outside I was one person, and on the inside I was a completely different person that nobody knew about. I went through corporate that way. I got my master's degree that way. And inside, I've always wanted to be this multifaceted healer, acro yoga person who, I mean, I'm not like a big one, but I just love that sport. And, just an artist while serving and transforming leadership at this level. And so I remember that one moment where I had to face the very tough choice of whether to, it was in the middle of a meditation retreat, and I had a 15 years battle with bulimia, and I had tried every single solution under the sun to get rid of it, and nothing had worked, and none of the doctors could help me. And so I had researched everything and found, I didn't, after like hundreds of solutions, found this one last one that I thought was going to work. And I was in this meditation, deep meditation. My entire body was in complete trance, and connected to some other, some higher consciousness. And I asked myself this question: am I ready to let this go? And deep within me, a voice came out without me even trying, without me even finishing my sentence. And the voice said, yes. And from that moment, I knew there was no way back. Not only did I have to say yes to every inspiration that I knew that came from deep within, but that I had to choose, or I chose to never step back. It was either my health or my purpose. And I decided to give everything up and trust in this road that had no end, and I couldn't see anything in front of. And so I left corporate, decided not to go back, and studied a bunch of different things, and eventually, created this business that not only helped and supported other liberated leaders to reach their deepest core essence, but also be able to prosper in it, be able to make so big of an impact and so much of a difference that people couldn't wait to support their mission and to support themselves. So the ripple effect started happening. And today, you know, I am so honored, and so I feel so special, so lucky to have friends, you know, just like you guys who are showing up today, and to have such an immense support from such amazing people who not only lift each other up in collaboration, but also support each other's dreams in a way that impacts the world, you know, in a world that is so dark right now, in a world that is so crazy. How can we really change the world by just being ourselves in the highest vibration possible? So yeah, I love it. And so I'm so excited to share with you these decisions that took me here. And I hope that each of you can also make the decisions that will take you further and deeper into the deepest realizations of what you're truly capable of on this earth for the rest of your life. All right. So when I am aligned, my success flows. So if you're ready, I'd love for you to put your hand on your heart. You can even unmute yourself if you wish, and say it with me. When I am aligned, my success flows.
My success flows.
I want you to drop into your heart. Allow your eyes to close. Taking a deep breath into the location below your belly. You might even want to put your palm underneath it. And allow yourself to feel what it feels like to have your success flow and be 100% aligned to your highest potential, but not just that, but the potential that you're continuously being called forth to grow into. Remember, these visions that you're having of what you want to do does not just come from your ego perspective. There is a higher source that is planting, that is sharing, that is allowing you to carry out these missions. So as you're closing your eyes, imagine if you were to flow, if you were to align and keep making decisions from an aligned place, where would you be 1 year from now? Breathe into that and allow your body to show you what does it feel like to be in alignment for 1 full year. Saying things that mean deeply to you, creating, contributing that which is of your highest good and humanity's highest good. Receiving the abundance that is here for you to receive, healing the traumas that hold you back from creating, and being the leader that you're meant to be, so you can change, and in turn, as a side effect, those around you change too. Take a deep breath in, and we're going to float into 5 years from now. Imagine yourself dropping, floating into a place in your life 5 years from now. You don't have to see exactly what it is, although you could have some visions. Allow whatever wants to show up, whatever sounds, whatever colors, whatever feelings, whatever emotions. Deep breaths into that. What is it that scares you to create 5 years from now? Is it a prosperity goal that's in alignment to who you are? Your gifts that you're here to share? Is it a family goal of creating love, creating community, nourishing relationships that are so delicious, juicy, nurturing? Is it the impact that you can share? Is it the healing within your family, lineage? Is it the support you can give others? What is this beautiful, bold dream that you can dream of 5 years from now? If you were to have said aligned yeses to every single decision you could have made, what is it? Allow yourself to breathe deeply in it. And allow yourself to feel, what does that feel like on a day-to-day basis? Where are you living? Who's around you? In what field of frequency or vibration are you at? What are your main emotions? And how do you combat fear? As you look into this world of your aligned success, your highest aligned success, receive it and allow it to be as it is. Whatever showed up is perfect, or didn't show up is also perfect. And allow yourself to notice as well, where are you today? As you glide back into your present body in the present moment. And as you come back into the room that you're in, I would love to hear from some of you what you've seen. What are your 5-year visions? I love to hear from you. So just unmute yourself and wiggle your fingers and your toes, open the video channel and share with me what was there for you.
The alignment piece just feels really good. Just every moment, every step along the way, just opening, clear choice in the moment. It was interesting. I saw and heard on the 1 year Costa Rica. Like, all right, I don't know what that means, but I'm open. I'm open to that. Yeah, it just feels really good. Feels very, yeah, just presence bringing and powerful. So thank you.
For sure. And I just want to acknowledge you for waking up at 4:30 a.m. for this call. Gary, you are so, so amazing. Aligned Costa Rica and powerful. Awesome. Laura, Christy, would you like to share? Yay, Christy! So exciting to see you in person. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you might need to do the audio thing. Oh no, we can't hear you. Maybe Lara go first and then Christy can try again. Maybe log back in and out and then you have to like select join with audio.
Yeah, for me, my 5-year vision was more like some projects I have envisioned and I would like to do. I would like to do a retreat, and that is like really there and present, and starting a project. And so, yeah, I could really vision that and see it.
What kind of retreats?
I would like to do an acro yoga tantra retreat.
Ooh, I love
Yeah,
it.
because for me it's like acro yoga, and for couples especially, or like especially like even if you're not in a couple, like partner work is so important. And yeah,
I'm feeling so excited for you because it's not just couples and partners that I can do this, right? It's like I'm working with co-founders, you know, like business partners. Like these are like such good team building events and I'm just
yeah,
getting
too.
such a such a huge surge of energy for your project because it's like this is what the human world like needs right now. We need to be in collaboration. We need to learn how to support each other to balance. So this is such a beautiful way of externalizing that.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, good
Gorgeous.
idea. You just gave me an idea.
Yeah, and you gave me an idea. See, this is how it works, right? It's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath with Gary and Lara for their 5-year visions. Hmm. Beautiful. Making room for all of our visions to coexist and to lighten them up. All right, Christy, she's back.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I just got home, so sorry that I joined without the audio. I was gonna say to Gary, sometimes my stuff comes in and it mixes with other people, but I was thinking about Costa Rica too. So I think that's just meant for you. Although I have been looking at Costa Rica in the long-term plan for when I was thinking about 5 year, I actually don't think I'll be there in 5 years, but who knows? But I saw like a healing center there. So yeah, I just saw opening a healing center in Costa Rica for 5 years. So it was really interesting that you spoke first and you said Costa Rica. Oh, because that's been, yeah, it just like was right there. And I was like, why am I thinking about Costa Rica right now? But that may be meant for you. So sometimes, like I said, it mixes in, like I pick up on other people's stuff. So take that as you will. Yeah. And then 1 year plan was just to keep doing what I'm doing, just to keep I think not to let any negativity get to me, just continue to like self-care and to keep stepping into what is being given. So just to, remember to rest sometimes and then to just go back and continue, recharge the batteries and go again. So yeah.
I love it. We oftentimes forget that that self-care is part of that alignment. And the source wants us to rest. Source wants us to have fun. Source wants us to revel in the juices of our creations. And it's like that is alignment too.
Yeah, it really is. I had such like a beautiful weekend last weekend too, because normally I work a lot on the weekends and do like sessions and stuff. And I took last weekend off and I ended up just running into a lot of people who had messages for me. Some people were like neighbors who didn't live there. I was nowhere near where I live normally. I was like almost 2 hours away from where I normally live. And they're like neighbors. Oh, just the universe is so funny how like, even though I thought I was taking a break, the universe is like, I'm just going to give you some stuff today. And I love how when we listen, it just shows up for us. Like when we're open to receive it, it comes in all different forms. And so it was really amazing to see how it connected and ended up the people that I met, they knew a lot of other people that I know as well. And it just sort of connected the web together.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice. Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it. It's just so much flow in this group. And, even the way that we came together today. Gary is in California. Lara is in Paris. You are in Hong Kong, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so, and I'm in Singapore. So it's like, it even like, it clicks all together and just like the right group gets together at the right time to create the changes in all of our respective places, So, Gary, you wanted to say something?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, Tucson! That's right.
I used to live in Phoenix, actually. I lived in Phoenix for a time. Yeah, yeah. So I used to go up to Tucson a lot. Mm-hmm.
It's fun, this international connection. I like it this early in the morning. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's dark there and it's dark here. And Laura's in the light.
Lara's in the light. Yeah, Lara's just woken up. Oh boy. All right. So today I'm going to give you 3 potent decisions that can give you the fastest way to more clarity. Like we've already gotten our 5-year vision. And now with that vision, we can create even more momentum towards it. And don't worry, like if you want to go deeper in it and you really want to get that 5-year vision in the next year, like I'll also have a way for you guys to do that. So let's jump in. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to share about liberated leaders, which is what we're talking about, is that there are a couple of different distinctions that I wanted to make in order for us to understand like what parts of ourselves we can shift or we can move into more or we can start sharing more of that allows us to become an ordinary leader to an extraordinary leader. Whether we know it or not, everything that we're doing is already in one form or another in a form of leadership, right? Like if we're doing something that's different from the majority of the people, then we're already going in a different direction, which is already leading a certain change. A lot of people are like, I don't like the word leadership. I prefer the word collective. It is a global collective leadership when we're leading towards light and alignment. And it is a belief that the aligned version of us is the highest version of us. So of course we have to do self-work to clean it out, but then also move forth because the aligned version of us is a version that is connected to multiple dimensions where we are constantly being called forth to rise, work through. It's a spiral, right? Like work through darkness, get to light, work through darkness, get to light, and then further and further deepening our relationship with that multifaceted version of ourselves. So the first thing and the first point that's different is that leaders change first, right? This is one shift that is, I'm pretty sure that a lot of us who are watching this and in this group understand that whatever we want to do, we got to change a bit of ourselves in order to rise to that new frequency, rise to that new possibility, because whatever we thought prior to this moment may be limited by the way that we see the world. And so when we open our minds a little bit, open our hearts a little bit, and open our ability to explore and open play, right? In acro, we always like just open-minded creativity, and we change, then that's when the world changes. Like the world in which we see changes. So the first decision, the first shift we always want to make is whenever we're stuck, change. What do we need to change within us? So that's first. So the second thing is there are 2 types of inner attitudes towards leadership. One is about control, right? A lot of times when we're talking about corporate leadership, or if it's, leading, let's say, like countries, although I don't want to get into politics at all right now, but leading things, like there is a level of, there are certain people that believe that control is going to reign, right? Control is the right way to go. And there's another, and when we look at the energetics of control, and it's important to understand this within ourselves as well. Like, how are we leading ourselves? Are we controlling ourselves too much? Are we forcing ourselves to only define success in a certain way? Are we only defining alignment in a certain way? Are we only allowing ourselves to receive a certain way? How attached to control are we in our ability to receive light, receive love, change? Or how much flow do we give ourselves, right? What's the balance of control and collaboration are we experiencing with the universe, with the, you know, the spiritual nature of this earth and with life itself? Are we dancing with life, or are we controlling life? Oh, life, you can only come to me when I am between the hours of 5 and 6. You know, when do we allow life to happen? And so that's also another way of saying, okay, how are we leading our own selves? And are we applying a lot of control, or are we allowing ourselves to take the actions and then let go? In an extraordinary leader paradigm, it's a lot of collaboration. We give and we take and we co-create, right? So an example is, you know, if you're doing a project, there can be one person who decides everything and how everyone's doing what role, and then everybody divides and conquers. And in another, and just one person is the decision maker. However, in a collaborative environment, all parties can contribute and create something that could be larger than the whole, so synergistically. One of the things that I always like to refer to is a lot of the communities, right? Like a lot of the communities we're a part of are coming together in this way that the sum of the community becomes even larger than what each individual can bring to the table. And when we can trust that we can be in harmony with each other, and there is a way to create that harmony, then we are much more able to be vulnerable with each other and then grow and collaborate and create in a way that is authentic, that we're not holding back ourselves to be who we are, and we're also not preventing other people to be who they are, and also aligning that whole thing to a vision. So when I'm leading my team in like 5 different continents and 5 different time zones, a lot of our work is aligning everyone to a vision and having everyone collaborate so that they don't feel like they're just in like little tiny dots in different countries because we're not in the same office. So that's just a really practical example of how to use collaboration as glue in a distributed remote workforce. So that's one. The second one is around success. How do we define success, right? That's the second shift we got to have. A lot of times we define success as either spiritual and we're like spiritually fulfilled, or we are materially fulfilled, or it is, oh, we are familially, like, you know, in a family, and, you know, defining by really good relationships within the family, like that defines success. So there's a lot of people who have different opinions or different value systems of what success is. And sometimes the success is also like, you, okay, like if I have this family, if I'm married, then I'm successful. Or if I am constantly in flow, then I'm successful. If I'm something, then I'm successful. If X, then success. So that's like one formula, right, to define success. So just kind of like reflect to yourself, like what does success actually mean to me? And does the word success even trigger something? Because some people even get triggers when they hear the word success, right? Like, oh, why are we so focused on success? And so an ordinary leader, right, like is really focused on the results, really focused. So if the result is not there, they work harder and harder and harder to get the results. And if they don't get the result, then they'll work even harder and harder and harder and harder until they get the results. And the distinction with an extraordinary leader is that the result is just as important as the integrity in which the process is experienced. So integrity means very similar to alignment, right? The ability to have every step of the way be something that is of resonance with you, that is of your personal value system. You're working with people you like working with. You're not sacrificing. You're not selling out. And in integrity means that you're not playing small, right? And that's a really, really hard one for people who have really big hearts. Like we like to hide. Yeah. And so the next one is about, oops, the next one. Okay. There's one of them is like playing small. So we'll talk about that later. So maybe I'll just pause here for a second. I just want to go in a circle and see, what does success mean to each one of you, and hear from you a little bit more about how each of us define success. Pop in.
I think I have two different definitions of success, because there's the one that I
You have to
learned
get
from
closer
society.
to the microphone, dear.
Oh, literally. I think there's two different definitions that I have for success, because there's one from society, which I know what success is. Success is if I have a family, if I have a house, if I have monetary stability. But there's the other success that I would define for myself, is if I'm happy what I'm doing, and if I am going forward, and if I'm learning, and if I'm if I'm doing what I really love.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I can definitely feel that desire and that passion behind that love. Thank you, Lara. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about success. I think for me, coming from well, it doesn't matter. We all have different backgrounds, but from working in kind of I guess for a lot of people, like a corporate environment in the past, or a sales and marketing environment, where it was always about like getting numbers and making more sales. It wasn't actually, to me, that wasn't a problem. It was being able to stand behind what I was putting out there. And so I think I think this is important for men as well, actually, because they're always results driven. But I think it's okay for you to be successful both monetarily and in a wellness way, because people need that. And I think that you still need to speak your truth. You still need to be in your authentic self. But as long as you're doing that, if it continues to offer some abundance to you, you don't necessarily need to be struggling. And, now if you want to farm and you want to live off the land, and this is your passion and this is where your strengths are, or if you are an artist, you don't have to be a starving artist. You can actually create something beautiful that people will receive. And I think there's this sort of like, I don't deserve to be successful monetarily, but we do live in a society that operates with money, unfortunately, a lot of times. And it does, as you are successful and you do value your services and you value who you are, and like for me, I value myself as a healer, then people will come to me and I'll be able to offer more services to them because I can pay my bills, and I have children and I'm married, but I can still take care of what I need to take care of, and I can get assistance when I need, when I need someone to help me to go on a retreat or something like that. I can pay for the things that I need in order to facilitate that. So I think it becomes then more of like a village system or a tribal system where people come in to support you on as a vessel, if you will, or as for me, it feels like transmutation, but as you go forth on the thing you've been set out to do. I mean, you're given that purpose, you're given that signpost, and it's nice to be able to like easily flow into that and not have to worry about everything else that goes along with it. So I think, it's been I speak from my heart, because in the beginning I was always giving extra. I was always burning the candle at both ends. I wasn't taking care of myself, especially when I came out into that. And then I just realized, it wasn't benefiting the broader audience that I wanted to reach. And I wasn't taking care of my own health. So I had to switch to a different mindset. So I think if that makes sense, I think it's important to do both. I think it's a balance between living in this modern society and still carrying the values of our ancestors, and also what we're given for the future at the same time. We kind of have to carry the scales. We have to carry both. So anyway, that's how I see it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Christy. Thank you. And it's not, and I love the way you kind of come about to this conclusion, because that is what it is. Like, we are in a modern world today, and the definition of success does evolve with our times, and now with so many more light workers on this earth, because the world needs more of us. That's why it just has more that are more, or at least we have a higher consciousness around the existence of the existing ones. Then there has to be an economy for it. And it's not just about like, oh, it has to, like entitlement, but it's trust, right? Trust that there is a reason why we're being given these missions, and the trust in that this too has a higher design to it. And this too is calling forth a new value system, value exchange, value recognition, right? And understanding that, as mothers, as holistic life type people who care about multiple things, we can thrive, not only thrive, but it is this new paradigm of breakthroughs, the lead, like this is the leading edge. This is what being a liberated leader means. Like we are liberated from our worries, not so much because we ignore them, but because they are being taken care of in the same vein as we are taking care of ourselves and our families and our communities, right? It's like an ecosystem of care. So I love that you brought that up. And that is another form of success, right? Trusting and taking action and going for the biggest dreams that we're being presented to, because that in essence will take care of this village, which will take care of this cyclical nature of our work.
Yes. Yeah, you got it. You got it. What I was saying. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
Yay! Gary, did you want to add a couple words? Are you good?
I wrote down a few things, definitely different categories in my life. My daughter, she's amazing. She's 16, and huge success there is she comes to me when she's feeling upset. She comes to me when something is, something weird's going on, and we talk through it, which is brilliant. Like whatever responsibility I can claim for that relationship, that's huge success. So just my energy, my body, my health, loving my work. I work through the challenges, and it's fresh for me. It's exciting. Success in work. I've got this new group program we're just launching again, and it's so much fun. I had no idea that creating this work in this group program and then doing the one-on-one sessions, it's like laser clear, brilliant work. So much fun. Had second best financial month ever, October 2020, second best ever.
Yay!
Which was a lot of money. And we're working on a vision of buying land in community, really food-focused, food production. And one big shift in October was was this realization. It was like, okay, moving forward in this different way with my work, it was this falling away. It's like, I can't do it the way I've been doing it. I can't carry people. I am not responsible for anybody else's work, which has just been huge. Like I can just right now feel these layers falling off, this old burdens falling off, an old way of doing it. So there's a few things of success for me.
Wow, yeah. What a shift for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge one, because as leaders, to protect your energy and these boundaries are so important for sustainability, right? And I'm just so honored to walk this path with you, and being in that mastermind together and supporting each other. It's just amazing how much has become possible and how fast you've grown. It's just wow, out of this world.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Ooh, I so see you. Thank you for being you.
It's exciting because the people that are signing up and showing up, like in the group program and individual clients, they're excited. They're very clear. They're very clear and direct. They're showing up to work. I'm like, yes, let's do this.
You're in alignment.
It's fun.
And it's fun, yeah, because you are all about fun. That's amazing. Love it.
Yay, thank you.
Yay. Let's take a deep breath with Gary and all of us here and all of our definitions. Just making room and space for all the definitions of success and all of the definitions of possibility. Success is opening up possibility into infinite realms. It's whatever we want to define it. It's just a simple word. It doesn't have a right or wrong, right? And nobody gets to decide except for ourselves. And who's measuring it? Us. So it's really the non-attachment to it, yet the vision of it, that creates these momentum that allows us to face it. Because receiving success is also very, very difficult, especially if you're humble, and especially if you get triggered of when you see arrogant people and you're like, I don't want to be like that. And so I don't want to receive it in the same way. And I just don't want to receive it at all. So sometimes receiving is a very difficult thing. And there's a lot of fear when we receive. A lot of healers, a lot of people who do good in the world, a lot of people who have these social missions, we feel sometimes like embedded in our DNA or embedded in our ancestral history. There is this dissonance between doing good and being proud of the good work that you're doing, and receiving abundance, which is just equally as amazing as, bankers, lawyers, whatever you may, and receiving the same amount of prosperity as that is very triggering to a lot of people, and it causes a lot of fear. And so the next decision that we have in the next shift is around how we respond to fear, right? And a story and a experience with fear is, how do you react to fear when it comes to receiving specifically money for the work that you do? That is something that there is a number that you're comfortable receiving at, and then there is a number that we are not comfortable receiving at. If someone were to pay you for your services, what is that? That limitation. Some people are like, I can charge $100 an hour. Some people are like, I can do $1,000 an hour. Some people are like, I can charge $1 million a year, or 2 or 3, right? And so where is that limitation for you? And how do we respond to that kind of a like a mindset shift. No, there's no way I can charge that. You know, like what, like how people get super freaked out when we're getting bigger and bigger numbers, right? Like if I were like, okay, like let's create like a $7 million product, right? Like, or a $7 million business, like how are you going to do that, right? Like there is a, like sometimes we can't even hear that number if we're in a space of scarcity. And for others, it's like they want to grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's like, okay, I want to create like, you know, hundreds, multiple prosperity and do good in the world as well. So before we can get there, we've got to address the fears, and we've got to address the limitations of dreaming big. No matter where you are at, whether you're at a 8-figure business or a 6-figure business or a 5-figure business or a 9-figure business or whatever, there's always a layer of fear that prevents you from jumping onto the next layer. So, you know, we have a lot of clients that we took through from 0 to 5 figures, and also from 5 to 6 and 6 to 7, and each one of them all had to face the fear of being bigger. For example, we have people just like, like there are some people, like they would whisper to me when we talk about monetization plans, and they would be like, you mean I can do that? When we really show up, you know, being authentic, being able to charge for what you're worth, and creating the results that delivers the impact and value of what you offer, right? Those are all some of the things that can be quite challenging to bring it from a mind, like a vision, to action, to reality, to manifestation. There's a lot of layers that it's got to come from your idea of what's possible to then see it through to manifestation. So the main point is, how do you respond when resistance comes up? When resistance comes up, do you face it? Do you realize it? Are you allowing yourself to purchase things for yourself at a high level? And, or do you deny yourself and you're like always like, you know, finding a way to get the same value stuff at a lower cost? Or, you know, there's like this relationship that we have towards money, receiving, deservingness, worthiness, self-worth, value that's enmeshed together. So how is this landing for everybody? I'm just gonna leave it at this like enmeshed state for a little bit before we take a look at it deeper. Can be quite anxiety driven, and it can create quite a bit of anxiety when we're in a place that feels confusing, that feels like we can't do something because of monetary restrictions. And it also can feel very scary when other people, like when the comparison thing happens, right? When other people who are offering similar services start prospering and start being bigger, you're like, whoa, like this is something I could totally do too. And at the same time, when you are at the leading edge and you are a leader, like there is nobody who has gone before you to do these things and to create bigger prosperity and to create a path forward. So in essence, you are the person who is anointed or is presented to create this, right? And so how are you going to burst forth and take this new route of combining your prosperity with your value and your gifts and your dreams and your humility and your service for the world, and birth that forth? Are you willing to face the fear within ourselves or within you to, you know, work through it? Do you allow the fear to freeze you so you stay small, or do you allow it to force you into action, or do you embrace it? Like, what is that relationship, right? Like, these are all things that we've got to consider when we're stepping out into a larger arena. And the biggest thing and the biggest motivation that I always personally come back to is children, right? Like, what kind of a model do I want to give to my future children on what is possible in this world? Am I modeling that doing healing work and doing work that is meaningful can take care of my whole family? Or am I modeling that it is something that is, something that is a charity? So it's important, like the prosperity and the ability to flourish in an authentic and a fulfilling and nourishing way in our bank accounts, as well as the results of the work that we do, is not only necessary, but it is something that is absolutely non-negotiable if we want to set the precedence for the future generation. It is important. If we want to take a stand on what the future is going to be like, in 30 years, the UN said that all the jobs or all the things that the kids are learning in school right now the jobs that are existing in 30 years are not even being taught in school right now. So if we want to set a precedent and we want to set the stage for what the next 30 years is going to look like, it starts from here, and it starts from creating the type of businesses, creating the type of communities, and the way that this exchange happens from ground up. Right, from ourselves. So are we going to choose to play big, or are we going to choose to play comfortable? I see Christy laughing. Share with me what you got there. You can unmute yourself, darling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I started to like really, like when I left my corporate job to go into healing like full time, I just thought, I'll just start a little, like financially, I wasn't really burdened at the time, and I thought I'll just start slow and see see what happens. I think that the two things that came up when you were talking that I wanted to share, because there's always a lot you can talk about with this topic. I think you could do like a whole, obviously you probably have done a whole course on this part particularly. But the first thing is, when you do open up like that, expect to receive opportunities. I think that was it wasn't just trying to like feel good about receiving money. It was that, oh my gosh, I just got this email. This person wants me to do this corporate event. What is going on? I have to have like the equipment. I have to have the studio. Like I have the studio. And eventually, sometimes the universe is like, I'm not even going to give you time to go to go do all this. You're just doing it in 2 days. You're just going to do it. And so it was like kind of not winging it, but like showing up when I was asked to show up. And I think I thought it would be a little bit more of a relaxing climb. And it wasn't, for me at least, it wasn't relaxing. It was like, once you turned the light on, it was like everybody was everybody was going to do the light. Like it was already on. Yeah, it was already on. It's always been on. Like since I was a kid, it's always been on. But when I really turned it on, it was like just like, oh my gosh, So I think it's just, for me, it isn't so much about, and still now, I think it's just someone had a quote, they were talking about, not a quote, but an idea. They were saying, if you're an activist, and I like the word activist because it can mean you're a healer, it can mean you are good with plants, it can mean whatever your gift is, because everybody's gifted. I think they just have to be recognized what that gift is. But when you're an activist in whatever area you're in, you can't really burn out. You can never allow yourself to burn out. You might get tired. You might have to rest. You might have to go, like me, go find a new camera and get some, better sound equipment or something. But we're not really meant to burn out. Like once we're lit, you don't really extinguish it. You continue to, you just continue to, you know what I mean? So you don't want to just be a bonfire and burn out completely, right? But you just continue. So I know that's been used a lot, but I like to be reminded of it because I was actually reminded of that today. And I was like, even if I'm a little bit tired, that might just be like, I'm, letting people know that I'm taking a couple days off and I'm not going to be available, for sessions for a weekend or something. But they're always really understanding when you let them know. And then you come back again and they receive you well. And then of course another project comes up. And so it's not it's not a big deal, it's just being willing to show up when you're given the opportunity. And I think sometimes for me, I'm a bit of perfectionist, honestly. Like sometimes I get a little bit perfectionistic and I'm like, oh, but I really want to have that equipment. I really want to have this thing. I really need this new microphone. I really, need to update this. But when people are connected to you, they are willing to receive whatever gift you have to offer them at that time, regardless of how comfortable you feel. I mean, of course you have to be professional. I'm not saying
For
that,
sure.
but I mean, it'll show up. So I think it's just being in that flow, just being.
It is. And
Yeah.
the most miraculous things will show up, like literally.
Yeah.
Like I can tell, like for
Yeah.
you, like the most miraculous opportunities, like I can tell, like, what you're seeing is just like the momentum is so high that it's just like beating the last one and the last one and the last one and the next one and the next one. It's just crazy. Like I understand. Like, I mean, I'm teaching at 2 universities that randomly landed in my lap, and like
It's
and
not
then,
it's not it's not random
it's not
though.
random,
That's the thing.
but it is so okay, fine. It's divinely landed in my lap. And yeah, but in a way that it tells me it's in flow, right? It's like I need to, not even I need to say yes to this. It's like, yes, of course I will. And it's
Yes, yeah.
like 1,000 people from a bank, like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, oh, ooh, like message, okay, And
Yes,
so I remember, and I love that you make that distinction, because like once you are in alignment, it is ease and flow. I talk a lot about success and a lot about ease and flow, and we find ourselves constantly in this battle between ease and flow, and then it's like suddenly a self-doubt just creeps in. But
Yes.
I'm curious to know, like now at the stage, like what's your next edge? Like sort of like what are you working through now? Or like is there
I always feel like I don't like to speak it too much, but I really feel that I'm probably going to be on like a YouTube channel, that I'll have a channel. People keep asking me to do I deal a lot with sound, obviously. Well, maybe you don't know that, but sound. So they want me to do recordings like in studio. And so it's definitely musically related. But it may also just be, I mean, who knows? I always thought it would look one way. It may end up being, gosh, anything that comes in, really.
you're
So,
feeling like you're
well,
creating, like your next thing is kind of like creating a creative expression?
probably an internet presence, yeah, because I mean, similar to you, I was asked by a law office to do corporate meditation, online events, and it was. I will say, this is another thing I'll mention. I didn't expect for, and I have lawyers in my extended family, so I'm not trying to be rude about that, but I didn't expect for a law office to ask me for sound healing and meditation. I just didn't. I didn't think, and one thing that I love is that wellness is being more widely accepted now, and something that people would sort of think is a little strange even 15 or 20 years ago, they're open to, and they want to know what it is. They want to know what tool you use, or how you can help them, and what services you offer. And so I think another point to say here is that if you're doing any type of, and wellness is such a broad term, I feel like the English language doesn't really cover it, but if you're offering a service, don't limit it to just who you think will receive it. Because I always get requests from people that are out of left field, and I don't expect to have requests from them. And it's not my typical client. It's not the person that I think it's going to be. So I think, so I think if you just say, you know what, if you stop me on the street and I don't know you, and somehow we were meant to have this conversation, and you're in a totally different field and you don't know why you're talking to me, and yet like I'm the person, like that happens a lot to me. Just go with it, just go with it, because if it's like, you don't always have to be comfortable stepping into that client base. it can be completely different than
Yeah,
what you're used to. Yeah. So
it's
that's
absolutely
where I am. I'm kind of dealing with people who tend to be stereotypically, of course, I'm not judging, but more conservative or reserved. And so I'm interested to see how that's going to change the dynamic of their workspace. I think it'll
amazing.
definitely have a ripple
Yeah,
effect.
higher
Yeah.
impact.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's so important. You know, like in our groups, in our Liberated Leader group, like we constantly talk about how to create that shift and how to embrace that shift and how to welcome those opportunities as they come, because there is no, like we mentioned earlier, right? There is no coincidences, and even the random ones are divinely planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's that ability, and a lot of times it's also pretty scary, right? Like, you know, the first week out of corporate, like I had an invitation to like I was just so embarrassed even talking about it because I like totally botched it, right? Like I had this opportunity to like lead this team that's like, you know, that was a pilot for like the whole Southeast Asia region, and at a really big company. And then I was coming in for an innovation project, and I was so scared of doing that I completely just like procrastinated the meetings. And that's I was like in 2015, right, when I first started all of this. And so although like it started in 2008, but anyways, so it's like one of those things, right? Like when we do have opportunities, sometimes they do also not just scare us, but like they could be a deeper, there could be a deeper reason for it. You know, just a week ago, I was talking to like VCs, like a group of VCs and Silicon Valley people. And I lived in Silicon Valley / San Francisco in 2008. And I had always dreamed about being with that group, right? Because it's like, I'm just so turned on by like the tech and the enthusiasm of it. And so I ended up meeting like so many cool people. And at the same time, it's just like, it's reminding me of like, gosh, like this is all in alignment. So a lot of times when we're seeing these opportunities, and I got to like present in front of like all these venture capitals, so it's like I feel like a lot of times like our opportunities get lined up and we don't even know that it's like we don't even need to worry about it being lined up, right? And we need to make the shifts to be able to recognize them. And the work that is for us to do is to align higher and higher ways. The biggest challenge to this is not understanding where the blocks are to align higher and higher frequencies. And so I still remember, right? And the biggest thing that I had to make a decision on was to choose an actual plan, an actual vision, because opportunities will come no matter what. Opportunities will come no matter if you choose plan A or plan B or plan C or plan D. Whatever you're focused on and whatever you say and you decide you're worthy of receiving, that is what will be put into the order, right? Like that's on your menu and that's what you picked. And so that will come and it'll be like many courses of meals, right? And so what plan are we on? You know, are we on our plan A? The planetary frequencies are changing so much. Our opportunities are changing so much. The frequencies in the world, the vibrations in the quantum field are changing so much right now, right? In 2020 alone, right now, in this moment, in this November time, it's already catapulting, it's changing, it's shifting. And how are we showing up, and are we continuously choosing consciously in union in our highest vibrational essence, like the highest purpose and the highest plan? Because we can manifest anything if we put our mind and our consistency and our confidence and our capabilities towards it, right? And so the second last point I wanted to make is just choose plan A. Because when I was struggling to, even when in it as a healer or as a light worker and as a coach and a transformational leader, I was still choosing plan B, right? At a certain point. Like I chose A to like get out of the corporate. And then like once I did that first few years of transformational work, I started choosing the safe route unknowingly again, right? And it was like a safe route within the entrepreneurial journey. And innovation means to be able to constantly shift, constantly realign. So I was following through on my planning and I was actually struggling. I was kept getting sidetracked, right, by life. So I was shown this vision of like what was possible, and it was a vision of, you know, turtles, like complete sea creatures, nature, big white sheets of like retreats. And at the same time, it was like all over the world. And it was also just having property like all over the world. But I kept getting sidetracked by life. And just this, and I had this like vision of like serving this community and just like uplifting the earth and just, you know, the grid works and doing all that. And I thought I would be actually, you know, I thought I would just like work slowly towards it, right? And I thought it would be something that I would eventually get there. I didn't think that it was something that I had to take action on right now. So I thought it was just going to be like something that I would flow into my world. And I thought I was never going to need to put in a ton of effort or a ton of focus or a ton of commitment to it. I thought it was just going to naturally show up, just like all the other things that has shown up in my life. However, what I realized is that there is an accelerated path. And that path is here if you decide to choose it. And so I think it'll be useful to share another story about one of my clients, Sally. She came to me and she was also struggling with saying yes to her accelerated path. She told me that she was really skeptical about signing up with me because she already had done a lot of work, and she's on the level of Abraham Hicks, right? So she's done a lot of healing work, and she channels a lot of really precise energy work, and she heals autoimmune disease, and she heals like doctors. So it's like she's like a really incredible human being. And she worked together for 1 year and found that, you know, there were still things that were in the way of her saying yes to her largest visions. And that there are things that, you know, can still sneak in there, like little tiny nodes that would shift her off alignment, that she didn't notice that there was a deeper level of alignment and a deeper level of success that she had to accept and go for. Commitment to her vision. Kept shifting ideas, shifting business plans, shifting things because of the new information. And she was just such a genius that she kept shifting, but it was never able to scale. Right? So after 1 year of working together, she shared with me that she had not only retired her husband, or her husband is on the way of retiring, but she's now on track to doing passive income work so that she can even retire herself. And only doing healing work when she actually wanted to, and finally take the vacations for herself and spend time with her horses whenever she wanted. And it's stories like these, right, that give me so much joy and so much meaning. So today we've shared some really powerful skills and powerful keys that can really make a big difference if we so choose to let that integrate into the way that we be, into the way that we make decisions, to help us get into that plan A and remind ourselves of that fearless conviction to that path. You know, are we meant to show up more, receive more, create more, serve more, be more with ease and flow, and take more time to take self-care at the same time? Like, is that expansion something that, you know, we are rapidly ready for, without the burnout, without the imposter syndrome, without the sacrifice? And it's going to take more than, you know, at the time of this workshop to really get all these things fine-tuned for all of us. And unfortunately, if we don't fine tune it and we don't iron out and we don't resolve and evolve and allow ourselves to remove the blocks to our next frontier, whether that is a monetary one or whether that is, creating that impact online, right? That because now everyone's online and that remote world. So whether it's creating that presence and that like that visual, like visual presence in the internet, it's it's probably not going to create itself. 6 months from now, it would suck if that was still something that was just an idea and hasn't been taken into the world and into the actions and created the momentum that it's meant to create. And 1 year from now, we talked about that 1 year plan earlier, like it would suck even more if we're not able to keep saying yes to that alignment, to create that and to see that through, so that the opportunities that action ripples forth. And I would hate to see us, stay in the same place. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping all of us rise. And I want all of our lives to not only just be fearlessly powerful, fearlessly convicted, like fearlessly with conviction and fearlessly embracing all of our authenticity and our abilities and, creating that change in the world. I'd love to personally support, you, if you're willing, to continuously break through these barriers. So would it be okay if I shared a little bit more about how we could work together? Yeah. So I don't have to if you guys are fine. I just wanted to know if you're interested. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so this is for you if you are ready, right? If you're ready to not just continue and deepening your work in alignment, because I know you're already such powerful beings already, and this is the work that you do already, right? But it is actually committing to facing the next frontier and the next visibility challenge and the next challenge in showing up, in all places in the magnitude that honors who you really are inside. And this happens in the next year, right? So it's not for you to, if you just came to get information, but you're not truly committed to making this visibility and this reach be a part of your transformation in the next year. So here's a small taste of what you'll get. In our first session together, we'll explore where you are right now specifically, which you already shared with me a little bit. So we'll go a little bit deeper, and then we'll create a vision and clarify that vision even more, that 1 year vision of where you want to be. And then the 5-year vision, right, of where that looks like. And then we'll create a plan and we'll see what you need to do in order to get there. And I'll make some personalized recommendations on how you can get there, and it'll be on Zoom. So yeah, my schedule is pretty booked right now, but I recommend you, if you want to have that, you can definitely get that today. So some of my colleagues charge as much as $3,000 per hour for this type of work. And it might sound like a super big investment, but there's a huge cost for not going for it. And we all know this as healers, right? Like if we don't choose to face the fear of our next frontier, which, is always like the uncomfort zone of stepping into a bigger light, stepping into a bigger purpose, stepping into more deeper into that purpose. 1 year from now, financially, it could cost us a lot. And maybe it is a burnout syndrome, right? Like maybe it is being tired more. Maybe it is not charging as much as we're worth, or whatever that may be. Not to mention the frustration of just not knowing if we are really co-creating with the world or not. So my rates are $1,600 per hour because my intention is to make it affordable to help you get this alignment and this aligned plan A. So not plan B and not whatever version that is in the reality right now, but it is the next highest alignment. But I feel so passionately about this work that I'm going to do something crazy. If you're already really committed to getting your visibility out there, you're really committed to creating that aligned success and liberation, I want to match that commitment. So I'm going to gift you this Plan A private coaching session, which means that I'm gifting you a full 60-minute session totally free. And just to be transparent, my intention is to do everything I can to support you to create that vision. And towards the end of our time together, and if it seems that I can support you further, then I may invite you to also join the Liberated Leaders program. But there's no pressure to sign up. And my main intention is to allow our time together to serve you. Cool. So a couple of spots in the program. So I'll put the link in the chat. And yeah, just book in, and I'll make that time and make sure that we really align your plan A to your frequencies now. Let's see here. I'll just type that in. It's like all in caps lock right now. Okay, cool. And then the last point is about commitment, and you know this. So the last point is about commitment. A lot of times, it does take a lot of commitment to follow through with everything that we are put here to do. And it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of conviction to continue staying on path and to really, really grow that confidence and that prosperity and that ability to show up more. And so if you are noticing that there is a desire and a feeling of, well, I'm already on path, or I'm already in this realm of in alignment, then I invite you to commit to that further. What does it look like if you were to commit to your aligned path even deeper? Where in your life can you be even more surrendered to faith, even more surrendered to your inner magnificence and miracle, right? And that deeper form of resonance. And it's a very, very beautiful space to be in when you're in complete alignment. It keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper, and this is sort of the cherry and the cream on top of it. Ever since July, I've already been working on this alignment thing, and just week and week and week just breaking through these different versions of alignments. And it's just trust after trust after trust. So the last point is about commitment. If you choose anything, choose to commit to your alignment and to your success. And I just want to leave you with that, to always choose plan A and to choose to commit to it, because there is no plan B. You shouldn't have to have plan B if you're able to follow through and be persistent in plan A. So you're amazing for being here, and make sure that you click on the link and book in a call for this week if you haven't yet. And of course, I'd love to hear your biggest insights and your biggest takeaway. Go for it.
Thank you. It feels like, excuse me, let me silence this device here. Yeah, I just feel the aliveness in my body. I just feel the alignment, the energy, the yes. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for this work, for this connection point this morning. And yeah, I'm grateful to have it, grateful to be here. Thank you. It helped me definitely really celebrate where I am and where I'm going. Love to share that vision.
I'm so happy that I got to connect to that with you as well. It's just so awesome to be able to experience this type of connection first thing in the morning. It's like droop.
Yes, it's very energizing. It's very, it's like it just keeps me moving on my path, and it's like yes and more, yes and more of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I just realized I forgot to share the last slide. So for those of you who are watching, there is still a slide that I wanted to share about what is going to happen on the call as you're booking in, for those who are watching. And that is like on the call, in addition to the extraordinary leader sections of each one of these elements, we're also going to be talking about how you can achieve the liberated leader version. So multidimensional quantum leaps in relation to leadership. In success, we're going to be talking about not just alignment, but we're going to be talking about freedom, ease, impact, contribution, love, and joy, how to create that on multi-dimensions, so more than 12 and into infinity, how to even embody the concept and the idea of infinity. Motivation wise, we're going to be talking about fears, like what inspires your energizing action. How can you streamline your action so that it's inspiring you versus just falling into your lap? Although that's also beautiful, but it's that response to fear. We're really going to look into that and see the patterns that are holding you back. And then the year ahead, how are you going to live with confidence, inner confidence and power, and how decision making can be made from the head, from the heart, and from the soul as you're creating decisions. Some people are investors and traders that I work with, and they are applying these decision making skills into their profession so that they have an extra source of information source. So these are all some of the things that we can be talking about on the call itself. Yeah, just wanted to share that for those of you who are watching and who are still on the fence about booking in the call. So just book in, and we're just going to really support you to burst forth into that next level. All right. Just want to acknowledge you, Gary, for being here.
Thank you, honey, so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
You're amazing. And all of us are amazing. And I can't wait to see so many liberated leaders just take over the world. Like, it's time.
Great work.